For the latest in strategic affairs, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the bell icon for updates. This is StratNews Global. I'm Amitabh. Revi. On the gist today, our guest is from Kabul, is Abdul Qahar Balkhi, the spokesperson of Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. Joining us direct from Kabul is Abdul Qahar Balkhi, spokesperson, as we said, of the MFA, the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. Mr. Balkhi, welcome to StratNews Global. Thank you for your time.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Mr. Balkhi, Minister Motaki, your economy minister, whole team from the MFA, including you, just returned from Uzbekistan. Lots of meetings there, bilateral, multilateral. Of course, what the IEA is wanting is international recognition, is removal of sanctions, of removal of the hold of billions of dollars. How much has the international community and the US moved towards giving you that?
Yes, that is correct. We recently attended a conference in Tashkent, Uzbekistan. It was a very important meeting in which more than 30 countries participated, including the United Nations and other relevant bodies. The conference was really about the future engagement with the new government of Afghanistan. It was an avenue of exchange of ideas, and on the sidelines we had bilaterals with the different countries, in which we talked about areas of mutual concerns and interests. The message from the government of Afghanistan was very clear and explicit, which was that the security concerns about Afghanistan are unwarranted. They are based on hearsay and are not grounded in reality. And Afghanistan, the new government, has a foreign policy which is economic centric. It has a foreign policy of neutrality, and it wishes to engage in with the world countries, including its neighbors and regional states, on areas of mutual interest. So that was the message of the new government of Afghanistan, and we made very clear that it is not only in the interest of Afghanistan for the new government to be recognized officially, but it is also in the interest of the neighbors, region, and the world, in order to have a partner in both peace, stability, and economic prosperity of the region and the world.
In lieu of the last few points that you were making, Mr. Balkhi, India has reopened its embassy. The ministry calls it a technical team, but there are diplomats there, chargé d'affaires as well. What is the Islamic Emirates' interest in India's presence in Afghanistan?
Well, of course, India and Afghanistan have civilizational ties. India is a regional power. It is very important in the security, stability, and prosperity of this entire region of Asia. So it is not only in the interest of Afghanistan, but also in the interest of India. In terms of the Afghan people-to-people contact that we have with them, the government-to-government contact that we have with them, the common traditions that we share with India. So therefore, I think it is a very good step that India has taken, and we welcome it with open arms.
You have, of course, given security assurances to Indian diplomats and Indian interests, and broadly speaking, to anybody who wants to come back to Kabul. But how will you ensure that? We have seen sporadic attacks, even within Kabul. The Karte Parwan Gurdwara was also attacked recently.
The new government of Afghanistan, one of the strong points that it has is that the first time in the last 4 decades, entire Afghanistan has been secured from a security perspective, and it has brought peace and security to every corner of the country. What happened in Kabul and what happens in some of the other provinces, these can be termed as incidents. They do not pose a threat to anyone. The elements that were involved in these attacks and in these criminal activities are criminals in every sense of the word. They attack places of worship, not only the Gurdwara, but also mosques. So these can be labeled in terms of the criminal activities that happen not only in Afghanistan, but can happen in any country, including the United States.
Daesh took responsibility for some of those attacks that you're mentioning, including the Karte Parwan one and others on mosques, as you were mentioning. How are you going to control the situation? And what about UN reports which talk about the Taliban and the Lashkar-e-Taiba and the Jaish-e-Mohammed links and even al-Qaeda links?
There's two parts to this question. One is those elements that were involved in the attacks. They have been neutralized by our security forces. The planners were also detained in separate operations across the country. So that aspect has been taken care of to a very large extent. And this problem stems from us coming to power and the United States and the former administration that was here in Kabul, releasing these criminals from Bagram and Pulicharki prisons. So we've launched operations to contain and detain these elements. The second part about the UN reports, the UN has a very a not so good track record when it comes to Afghanistan in terms of with respect to the analyses and reports that they publish. They initially said that Afghanistan, there's, I don't know, around 24 armed groups that operate in Afghanistan, and it was proven false during the 20-year war for freedom of our people. And even currently, there's only one power, and that is the Islamic Emirate. There's no other groups present in Afghanistan. The second part is they source their information from circles that are antagonists and that are malicious and malignant in their intent. And the third is this problem would have been solved very easily had we had our seat at the UN, where we could discuss and exchange information to make sure that there's alignment. So we have rejected the UN reports repeatedly, and the UN itself, the reports that they have published, have themselves proven false over time.
So you're categorically denying, say, for example, links to groups that have in the past attacked India, like the JEM and the LET?
Absolutely. The government of Afghanistan has a policy of non-interference, and it has made a commitment to the world, and we announced this in the Tashkent conference as well, that no group or individual will be allowed to use the territory of Afghanistan against any other country.
On another subject, Mr. Balkhi, over 24, I think, military cadets who were trained in India have just recently returned to Kabul. What will their fate be? Will they be allowed to join the security forces? How are you looking at that?
I believe the Ministry of Interior had a statement out regarding the trainees that were returning back to Kabul, and there was also a warm welcome. They were received with a warm welcome at Kabul airport, and the Ministry of Interior and Defense have made it known that they will be integrating these cadres back into the ranks of the security forces.
Right. On another front, India is known in the last, 20 years as being completely focused on aid and development in Afghanistan. $3.1 billion of both aid and development projects were executed by India. What would you like to see India involved in Afghanistan, and has there been any response from India?
We have had many exchanges with India, and we are exploring the requests of India resuming and completing some of the projects that are 90% completed or 95% completed as the initial step to the re-engagement of India in terms of development and assistance projects that it has in Afghanistan, because if they are not completed, the money that has been invested for the well-being of the Afghan people will go to waste. So that was one of the first items on the priority list. And both of us are exploring other aspects where India can invest, specifically in the basic infrastructure area, such as roads, railroads, and other connectivity projects. So we are in discussions with India, and we are exchanging lists on where India can help Afghanistan.
There are a lot of concerns about women's rights, girls' rights, not being allowed to go to secondary school, minority rights, reports of targeting of people who are connected to the Islamic Republic government. Your reaction to those accusations?
Firstly, the reports or allegations, unfounded allegations that the government of Afghanistan is systematically targeting former individuals associated with the administration here in Kabul is absolutely incorrect. We presented our findings to UNAMA, and they have it in the annexes of their report as well. There have been incidents, and we do accept this. There have been homicide incidents, which do involve individuals of varying backgrounds, which includes people, some people, not many, but some people that were associated with the previous administration. So we have categorically denied any systematic approach of targeting former administration officials. Rather, we have provided a general amnesty, and even currently, at this very moment, we have nearly 500,000 civil servants from the previous administration integrated into the workforce, and they are working with us shoulder to shoulder for the prosperity of our country. The second aspect about the rights and laws that are enacted in Afghanistan, we have a very open and clear stance when it comes to this, and that is, it is an internal matter of Afghanistan, the laws and regulations, just as India has its own specific laws and regulations. Afghanistan also reserves the rights to enact laws that are in line with its religious beliefs and cultural practices. So what we seek from the world is to respect this right of the Afghans and let the Afghans heal organically, instead of continuing the policy of dictating and imposing foreign prescriptions for Afghanistan.
Soon after August 15th, last year, when you came back to power, there were problems along the Durand line. Those have persisted. What is your current relationship with Pakistan?
Yes, there are not only with Pakistan, but with a few other countries as well. There was misunderstandings at the border. Sometimes the security forces do engage in actions that aren't in line with the policy of the government of Afghanistan. And we have corrected those. Both sides have corrected those through diplomatic engagement. And those problems have now been addressed. And there is no longer issues. As generally speaking, we have very good relations and positive relations, not only with Pakistan, but with all our neighboring countries. And we are pursuing a policy of positive relations with the entire region and the world.
What about talks with the TTP? Because that has also been facilitated by the Taliban. Ironically, what Pakistan used to say years back, that they couldn't stop terrorism in Afghanistan, the government of Islamic Emirates is now saying the same about the TTP to Pakistan.
The issue of TTP and others is a demonstration that the government of Afghanistan pursues a policy of neutrality, and it is a force for peace and stability in the region. This problem has been inherited and it existed before we came to power. So the government is working in a manner that addresses this problem and does not create further challenges for anyone.
You say neutral and non-interference are two of the principles of the Islamic Emirates. What is the stance vis-a-vis Kashmir and India and Pakistan?
Again, the policy of the Islamic Emirate is non-interference in the internal affairs of other countries.
What about relations with China, Mr. Balkhi? I know when I used to report there, Messina copper mine was with the Chinese, but no work had really started. India also has a consortium that wanted to develop the Hajikak mines. I believe there is a new agreement with the Oil and Petroleum Ministry with the Chinese. How is the relationship with Beijing?
The policy and that is being translated into actions is an economic-centric policy. We will pursue areas with all countries which are mutually beneficial for us and the other country, whether it's China, whether it's India, whether it's Pakistan, the United States, Russia. They are not important to us. What is important to us is areas of mutual interests and mutual benefit.
And talking about mutual interest and mutual benefit, India has been, like you said, civilizationally or historically or even now, one of the first, if not the first responders whenever Afghanistan needs humanitarian aid, whenever there has been a crisis. The recent earthquakes in Paktika and Khost are an example of that.
Absolutely. India, through its actions, along with other states, especially our neighboring and regional states, did show their goodwill towards the people of Afghanistan. And we thank and appreciate the efforts of India in trying to alleviate and help the common people of Afghanistan.
And on the India Connect, Mr. Balkhi, another area of a deep connect is on things like cricket and the IPL, where Afghanistan's cricketers like Rashid Khan, Zadran, Mohammad Nabi are all household names here. What is the Taliban's view? Has it changed since the earlier in the 1990s in terms of sport?
Cricket was actually came about, the cricket board during the first tenure of the Islamic Emirate. It was formally established by us. We have a very positive view when it comes to sports and cultural exchanges with other countries. And yes, Afghanistan has progressed in cricket especially, and we will continue to promote and encourage athletes.
And one day soon, like I have been predicting for many a year, Afghanistan will beat India as well.
Hopefully they will beat everyone.
That's true. Abdul, Qahar, Balkhi, absolutely appreciate your time, and we will continue these discussions in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
To all our viewers, do send in your feedback to this interview and all our other interviews. There is a scroll at the bottom of your screen where you can join our Telegram channel. We put up the latest both on our website and YouTube. You'll get notices on that as well. And there's a UPI QR code that is being flashed on your screens if you want to support us. This is The Gist on StratNews Global. I'm Amitabh, Revi.